Hello everybody. My name's Ruben A. Sandwich, and welcome back to the channel. I did have some stuff I need to address before we get the video started. My Sonic versus Cell thing, or Metal Sonic versus Cell. Hang on, sorry, I gotta fix something here. That didn't go well with you guys, apparently. Because apparently the stuff I used was either outdated or what have you, and a lot of the arguments I used really didn't help out a lot. And honestly, I didn't really help out the situation either, because again, you know, I'm very passionate about Dragon Ball and all that, and I'd like to apologize for that right now. There could be a few things I'm missing out on. Because they say Metal Sonic has had a lot happen since the stuff I use, the information I use has been, relevant. So again, there could be a lot of things that's going on there. So again, I could be wrong, but I think we're going to wait to see until Death Battle, because if I just do the math now, it's just going to be wrong no matter what I do. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to today's subject. HAZBIN Hotel. Oh, fuck. I had this idea while I was walking around my room. Also, speaking of which, I covered all that up to where you guys, at least didn't have to look at it as much. But anyways, HAZBIN Hotel. Okay, so let's go ahead and give a recap about the show. Alright? In my opinion, the show is not great. And I had this idea, and I had to get this idea out. I don't have anyone to talk to, so I'm going to post this here and see what you guys think about it. The idea is... Actually, I'm not even going to start with the idea. I'm going to start with the problem first. Because, honestly, there's a huge problem with the show right now. At least in my opinion. I also could be wrong about this, like I was with that last video. However, though, I doubt that is the case. Again, I have I've written stuff before. I've written, comics, all that fun jazz. In fact, I'm writing a new one right now. The only issue is that the publishers really don't like me. So I'm going to try on Webtoon and see how well that goes. But this is not a plug. That's not what this is about. Ooh, man, it's warm here today. Yeah, the main issue right now is the writing with the show. Again, it's a show, so there's only two parts, the animation and the writing. The actors, you can't really blame the actors. They're doing what they're getting paid to do. And and the voice actors, they're doing alright. They're doing pretty good, I'd like to say. Except for the reporter lady, they can't find a stable actor. They just use Brandon Rogers for whoever they just don't have an actor for, which is hilarious to me. Because honestly, Brandon, is getting a paycheck at the end of the day, and that guy makes... Well, I don't want to say good content, because that's like the whole point of it. He's raunchy about it. But it's pretty high quality, and he puts a lot of work into it. And it's good as in, I enjoy it. Not good in morality for the most part. But anyways. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I just ate dinner. I'm terribly sorry. The big thing about it, though, is that the writing in the show is not great. Now... How do I phrase this without pissing everyone off? The pacing is bad. That's where I'm trying to get at here. The pacing is horrid. They don't want to have any filler. There's like maybe 2% of the show is actual filler. The rest of it is plot point after plot point after plot point, which is bad because if you don't have any filler, there's a reason why it exists. Basically, it makes it to where the person who's watching it can absorb the previous scene. Makes it to where they don't have to think as hard, on the next one, because, again, it allows them to actually process what just happened. And with shows like HAZBIN, who probably don't even get that many episodes to begin with, it makes it to where the show itself suffers. So, again, that's just not a great thing overall. And plus, every character has some sort of motivation, which is okay for a show. But if you're not going to have any filler for it, it really makes it to where you're trying to pile on all these storylines on top of each other, and it makes it very hard for the person watching to process it, per se. Now, there's another thing here, another issue with the show, which I think we can all agree on. Mind you, I'm not talking about the voice actress. I'm talking about the main character, Charlie. Charlie herself, my God, she's insufferable. She, I kid you not, I watched this while I was going on a date with this chick. I'm not going to say her name, probably because we ended up not working out. But we watched the show, and basically what ended up happening was the Charlie was going through here, and she was making the stupidest decisions. Like, she was just being annoying for the sake of being annoying. She was also, like, just making the worst decisions possible. Like, I kid you not, though. She's like, oh, I'll post my review, post my ad on the internet that's controlled by this one douchebag whose entire thing is the internet. That's episode 1. She has not had another idea of how to advertise for this hotel in any other way except for that one idea. And she tries it like 5 or 6 times in the show. And I'm like, the dude is purposefully baiting you and you keep falling for it every time. Also, I realize my mic keeps peeking out. Whoops. Okay, I just turned that down. That should be better. I just now realized my mic was peaking. Sorry about that. But, what makes it worse, though, for me, is at the end of the day, there's, like, she doesn't end up doing anything in, like, season 2. She almost kills, Husker at one point. That's really it. Then again, I also haven't seen the last 2 episodes. So again, if there's something in those 2 episodes that she does magically, that really doesn't help her argument that as much as you think it would. Because again, she doesn't do a whole lot. It's Vaggie who ends up running the hotel more than anything. And she's the main character. Mind you, it's alright for a character to not do anything for, large quantity of time. But the issue is, she doesn't do anything. She's the main character. She's literally the main character of the... Sorry, I like to fiddle with dice in my hand right now as I talk. But she doesn't do anything. She's the main character of the show, and she does dick and diddly in it. She lets the angels try to make all the decisions. She's like, oh, let's go ahead and talk to that dude who's actively against us. Yeah, that's smart. Sorry about that. I know this is also probably a very outdated subject, but again, I do think I have a couple of solutions here. Now, again, also another thing here, no one's going to probably listen to this. No one's probably going to watch this or take this seriously because, again, HAZBIN Hotel isn't exactly relevant right now. But what really got me on this is the fact that someone posted it on, like, Twitter. It's like, posted a picture of Charlie, right? And they say, name a better character, you can't. And that rage baited me harder than fucking anything. And I'm like, excuse me? Did you just tell me to name a better character? That's not that hard to do. In fact, that's very easy. Most TV shows have a better main character than Charlie. But okay. I did say I did have a solution for this problem. I did. And it's not going to be what a lot of you think here. So the show is based around biblical acts that happen in the Bible. Lucifer and all that jazz. Also different characters too. So what do? Well, in the show, there's a huge issue that I keep seeing. Characters are more often layered. They're evil, but they're layered to where they have like, oh, I was at one point a good guy, now I'm just a bad guy. I have these motivations to be a douche. I'm layered, I could have been a good guy, but now I'm a bad guy. Like Vox, who's a douche. Now, he wasn't going to be a good guy, but he would have been working with Alistair. However, Alistair's always been a douche. But now he's a good guy. Yeah. And they keep trying to add layers to their characters. They need to stop. Like, this is my thought. Bring in a character who's objectively evil. Charlie's objectively good, but bring in someone who, from beginning in, is evil. And I feel like there's a lot of good choices. Cain, from the Bible. Cain is Abel's brother. Abel's already in the show, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if they ever bring him in. I don't know. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes. That would be an interesting case, because, like, how would they interpret Cain from the Bible? Another thing they can do is Samaiza. This was probably the big one, too. Samaiza from the Bible, I don't know if any of you actually read the Bible. Actually, he's not even in the Bible anymore. His book got removed. It was going to be the Book of Enoch, if you do want to look him up. And try to prove me wrong. he's a douche. He's like literally the leader of these a group of 200 angels called the Watchers. And what he ends up doing is basically going to the surface. This is his main goal, and to reproduce with human wives. It doesn't say that they consented, so take that as you will. And then what makes it worse is that his crew is worse off than he is. Well, actually, no, he's worse because he's leading this crew. He knows what they're about, and he knows what's going to happen, which makes him pretty damn bad. It gets worse for the guy, too. Like, this dude is bad. Let's go ahead and take one angel, Azazel. You can look this up, too, yourself. I know I don't have a whole lot of fancy mumbo-jumbo going on here, but anyways, Azazel. Azazel basically taught humans metallurgy, which in on itself isn't a bad thing. If you don't know what metallurgy is... Sorry, I'm trying to look to see if I have anything metal. Okay. Oops. Okay, here, I got these. This is technically metallurgy. Anything that's used in the act of making metal stuff is metallurgy. The thing about that is, he didn't tell them really much. He told them they should make swords and shields and armor. He taught humanity how to make metal weapons. He also taught them how to make jewelry and other decorative stuff, which seems nice. However, the more you start realizing his motives, you start realizing they're meant for more of greed purposes rather than for decorative purposes. So this guy single-handedly screwed over humanity by making them commit wrath and giving them the ability to commit wrath and greed much more effectively. Motherfucker. But, you know something that's even funnier? Who had to take him down? Who took down Samiza? There were two archangels. Actually, I need to look this up real quick. Because I remember one of them is Michael. Fucking Michael had to take down Samiza. Oh, wait. Okay, so that's what happened. Sorry about that. I had to go double check my mobile Bible. Actually, I could have just... Actually, no, I can't because the Book of Enoch's not in that Bible, so I need to go pull that one out. Basically, he ordered Raphael to bind Azazel and for Michael to bind Samiza underneath the crust of the earth until the day of judgment. Just think about that. How bad do you have to be for God to bind you underneath the earth? Hell, Lucifer still got to rule over hell at the end of his reign. He still gets to do stuff. Samiza and Azazel don't get to do shit until the end of days. Not to mention the 200 other angels that were with them. Just think about how evil that could be and how much that could help your show. Like, create mystery about who this character is, how they could function. And overall, just play the game better. Now, I do have a suggestion for this. If you do decide to go this route, Busy Pop, this is my suggestion to this. This is going to be random. This is going to be something from left field, but it has a point. Design him, not physically. Oh, he could physically. He's kind of dripped out. But design him emotionally like the 7th Doctor of Doctor Who. If you don't know who the 7th Doctor is, he's considered as the most strategic and manipulative doctor there is. He's also considered to be like one of the best doctors when it goes to fisticuffs and what have you. He's literally the perfect candidate, perfect at least outline for this character to be in. Because again, Samiza is a prevalent character in the Bible. And now, a lot of people are probably wondering, well, it's not canon in the Bible. I know, right? That's a term you can use. But the issue is, a lot of people don't realize it. He is. Whenever they removed his book from the Bible, they didn't take out his children from the other books. Because in Revelations, His children walk the earth. You know what is created when an angel mates with a human? The Nephilim. And the Nephilim shall rise and walk the earth. Not to mention Samiza is going to be under there, along with Azazel. Those two are going to fucking wreak havoc. And so, that's going to create a lot of dilemma for the characters in the show. And honestly, I do think it would be kind of interesting. I don't know. But yeah, no, this is what I'm thinking right now. If you guys have any other suggestions, let me know. And a lot of you are also probably wondering, why am I branching out like this? So a lot of YouTube stuff I've been doing here is a lot of gameplay stuff, a lot of D&D stuff. But I thought I'd branch out to some other mediums just where I can at least, get more people to watch the channel, I guess. Yeah, that's probably the best way. And I thought, maybe if I'm good at this whole... I don't even know what the hell they consider this. But anyways, if I'm good at this, it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, no. Make sure you guys do eat your dinner, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye now.